Ugh. This is everything weird that happened at Jeddah. Carlos Sainz is out with appendicitis, bringing in an 18-year-old Oliver Bearman. He misses out on the F2 race, but he gets to drive in a Ferrari with only one free practice session. If you look past the first two positions on the grid, this was an incredibly interesting and competitive race. So, the 18-year-old in a Ferrari starts with brand new soft tyres. Only himself and Valtteri Bottas are the only drivers to do so. So everyone else is on mediums, hoping for a one-stop race. On this track, everyone is expecting a safety car. Continuing the horror run for Alpine, Pierre Gasly cannot even finish the formation lap without gearbox issues. He calls the box in the first sector of the first lap. Alpine are the first retirement for this F1 season. Bearman shows an incredible amount of confidence in the first few laps. Lando Norris doing a bit of a jump start, according to George Russell. When watching the replay, you actually do see that he moves forward and doesn't come to a full stop before the lights go out. Reading the conversations around this afterwards, we're not really sure where this lands in the regulation. You are supposed to be completely at a standstill when the lights go out. I'll put what happened up here, but you can clearly see that when the lights go out, Norris is moving. The regulations say you have to be at a complete standstill. He was not, but for whatever reason, the stewards looked at the footage and decided ultimately it wasn't worth the penalty. Norris ended up with a bad start anyway, so perhaps they thought that there was no actual advantage gained. But in my opinion, if you break the rules, you break the rules regardless of whether or not you benefit from it. In lap 7, Lance Stroll pins it into the wall, struggling a little bit before this, touching the wall at turn 22, triggering some pit stops. This triggers a safety car, a lot of pit stops. Everyone expects it during this race. A lot earlier though than the teams would like. Red Bull double stacks their pit stop. Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris stay out. And at this point, I would be hoping for another safety car later in the race. Radio call by Lance Stroll is hilarious.
Okay, can you bring it back, Lance?
No, I'm in the wall.
No, copy that.
Lando Norris, when the safety car comes back in after lap 9, is in the front and being told to manage his tyres. Max Verstappen right behind him, probably thinking, I have to drive like a god to stay in front. Of course, we all know what happens. Max Verstappen gets in front and dispatches Lando Norris real quick. Kevin Magnussen taps Albon, squeezing him into the wall in lap 11. This is a bit of a shocking run for Kevin Magnussen. The Haas driver has an incredible race, driving like an absolute madman. He racks up 20 seconds in penalties by the end of the race and ultimately is the reason that his team manages to get a constructor point. Bearman does an overtake of Zhou Guanyu, putting himself into the points around lap 13. Sergio Perez is given a 5-second penalty for an unsafe release in the pit stop with Fernando Alonso. Ultimately, this doesn't affect Perez too much because by the end of the race, both Red Bulls were so far in front, he could eat that 5-second penalty. Okay, Kevin Magnussen was given a 10-second penalty for that Albon incident. This year it is a 10-second penalty rather than a 5-second penalty. It's a bit brutal, but yeah, I guess they just needed to up the consequences for unsafe driving this year. Oscar Piastri gets real close to Hamilton in the attack. A small tap and Piastri gets in front of Hamilton before having to give the place back. This actually happens 2 times. Bearman goes into 9th, overtaking Nico Hülkenberg, dispatching both Haas cars. Incredible work by the 18-year-old. Oscar Piastri suggests that Lewis Hamilton is moving under braking, a big no-no. Now this was hilarious and kind of genius. Kevin Magnussen, loaded up with 20 seconds of penalties, is now holding up everyone in the back of the pack. Looking like he's trying to help out his teammate in 10th for some points. Actually, it's not really that bad. And it makes me wonder, is this the Haas of 2024? Would have this happened under Gunther Steiner? With Gunther having left, we are actually seeing a bit of a different side of the Haas team. And I can't wait to see if they continue to improve as the year goes on. So, lap 29, Yuki Tsunoda saw Magnussen lock up and goes for an overtake, but it then doesn't end up happening and he loses it to Esteban Ocon in the Alpine. With that gap that he was given by his teammate, Hülkenberg gets in and out of the pit in front of Magnussen, behind Zhou, who still has to pit. So that's pretty much a lock. Hamilton and Norris had to pit at some point, so now they're on fresh softs and they both end up behind Oliver Bearman. No pressure is on for the 18-year-old yet though. Stake F1 have a terrible pit stop again. You have to imagine after last week there were some conversations about pit stops over at the Stake F1 team. Clearly no one was listening. The last 5 laps see Hamilton desperately trying to catch Norris, Daniel Ricciardo looking to have a very unimpressive season so far this year with a spin in lap 49. Driver of the day, Oliver Bearman, fair enough, an incredible race from him, finishing in P7, what a race. He actually ends up being 10th in the Drivers' Championship before having to go back and drive in F2. It was an incredible race, honestly an absolute thrill to watch. There was so much that happened off the track before the race this week. It was a bit of a wild week for F1. Honestly, a lot of the drama that happened was a build-up of everything that happened over the summer break this year. So if you need to get caught up on that, check out my video. I'll link it down below, or just click the I thing. If you like this video, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know down below. This is Aliens in the Paddock. I'll see you next time.